This is what's happening in the seas of Greece, where we've had over 13,000 earthquakes in the vicinity of the Santorini volcano. And now the fishermen saying that there appear fish swarms, dead fish swarms. The fish are disappearing from the Gulf of Corinth. Scientists answer that this could be a correlation with the earthquakes in the area of Santorini of the Aegean Sea. A strange phenomenon in the sea area of the Patra area of the Gulf of Corinth, with a decrease in the fish. The fishermen said in recent days we have had a large decrease in the fish population. And the scientists believe it could be a correlation from the earthquakes in the Cyclades, where we find the tremendous amount of earthquake activity near Santorini volcano. Professor of Seismology Christos Veganelakis and former director of the Geodynamic Institute Agis Tselentis, when asked by Peloponnese whether there is any basis for the estimates of fishermen in Patras that the harvest of the fish of this area and the Ionian Sea, which is between Greece and Italy, has decreased by 70% due to the seismic outbreak in Santorini, which outbreak may also strongly affect the life of marine organisms. And they replied, first of all, there may be a direct correlation between seismic activity in an area and the disappearance or thinning of a large number of fish. Fish immediately understand micro vibrations because they have a swim bladder which is sensitive to very small ultrasounds. It scares them and then they run away. So be careful though, the seismic activity in the Aegean Sea cannot in any way affect the Gulf of Patras, they said. I believe that the lack of fish has nothing to do with the earthquakes in Santorini. If we were talking about seismic activity in the Ionian Sea, I would tell you that it was very likely that this activity would affect the fish. Well, we know that we've had, with the Santorini earthquakes in the Aegean Sea, we've had a 4.3 magnitude earthquake in the volcano of Mount Vesuvius a few days ago. And that, of course, is on the west side of Italy. So we do have earthquakes going on in Italy as well. We've even had a big one off of the Canary Islands in northwest Africa. So we have to be careful. They said the seismic activity in the Aegean cannot in any way affect the Gulf of Patras of Corinth. I believe that the lack of fish has nothing to do with the earthquakes in Santorini. If we're talking about seismic activity in the Ionian Sea, I would tell you that it was very likely that this activity would affect the fish. And Mr. Sokos said only a major earthquake. Professor of Geology at the University of Patras and member of the Seismic Hazard Committee, Euthemios Sokos, ruled out any connection between the seismic activity in Santorini and the disappearance of fish in the Corinth Gulf. He says, I cannot understand how it's possible for the seismicity in Santorini to affect the Gulf of Patras and by extension the fish in the Patras Gulf. After all, we are talking about medium and small sized earthquakes in the Aegean. Only a large earthquake could affect a large part of the sea over a large radius. A few days ago, an earthquake of about 4 Richter magnitude occurred in the Patras Gulf, and others of similar magnitude are occurring. Earthquakes occur almost daily in that area and the Corinthian Gulf. However, we're talking about earthquakes that are not particularly noticeable. We do not have any picture that shows any escalation, although many times an earthquake comes without prior warning. And then the biologist, ichthyologist, Dr. Dimitris Mitropoulos, said there's a correlation that is possible. Dr. Mitropoulos is a biologist ichthyologist at the School of Agricultural Science, University of Patras, a doctor of the Department of Natural Environment Management of the University of Western Greece, with a specialization in management of fisheries and fish stocks. And when asked whether the seismic upsurge in Santorini could be related to the disappearance of fish from the Gulf of Patras, he replied, there could be a correlation between the two phenomena. In 1956, during the great earthquake in Santorini, fishermen complained, according to reports at the time, that the fish had disappeared, so there could possibly be a connection now as well. There is no other environmental factor at this time that would justify the disappearance of the fish. We do not have, for example, a terrible cold like in the winter of 2017. Perhaps the very warm summer that preceded it is to blame, as a result of which the fish are looking for a colder environment. Regarding earthquakes, whether they are volcanic or tectonic, strong vibrations are also caused in the sea, which affect the fish. Since, however, we do not yet know whether we are at the beginning and in the middle or towards the end of the phenomena in Santorini, I cannot say anything with certainty. To your question, however, about whether the seismic upsurge in Santorini could also partially affect the Gulf of Corinth, on this specific issue I answer you probably yes, because they are movements of water in the sea. In other words, the constant movement of water from the Aegean could also cause a small vibration in the Isthmus of Corinth as well. Organisms in the water have a completely different sensation. Sound in water is transmitted very quickly. And then we had Emeritus Biology University, Patras University, Dr. Kaspiris, concerning the nervous system of the fish. He said, on the occasion of the 6.4 magnitude earthquake in Lefkada in August 2003, had reported that the strange behavior of fish before and after a strong seismic tremor is manifested by nervous and unnatural movements which are caused by electromagnetic waves. The electromagnetic waves that precede an earthquake affect the nervous system of the fish, resulting in their abnormal behavior. In Japan, the behavior of fish is also used as a method of predicting an earthquake. This is why in many research centers and buildings there are large tanks with fish installed whose behavior is carefully monitored, and when they find that they begin to behave unnaturally, if they're nervous and unnatural, then they believe that an earthquake is imminent. And this is from pelup.gr. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. My Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.